let's analyze our EKS 230M2. This control is used for the control of gates, two-leaf swing gates, or for the management of. A double sliding gate, we have an entrance. Two switches, two barriers. Badge. Let's start analyzing connections 220 volts input on. Contact 1 to 2, on contact 3 to 4 we have and. The possibility of connecting the flashing light on the contact. 3-5 possibility connecting lights. Courtesy. The courtesy lights last for of 180 seconds. Receives the start contact. Let's then look at the connection of the motor. One with the connectors 6 to 7 and also that are prepared for the connection of the motor phases. One on which we will apply the capacitor. In parallel, connector number 8 on which it will just simply go. Connected the common of motor 1, generally, in general. The color of the common connection is or. Red or blue. Let's see the connection for motor 2. Repeats 1 first. 2 terminals are for the phases with the. Cap third terminal is for common alone. Let's move to our low voltage terminal block, which we have. As we were saying, the connection of the limit switch for motor 2 with common limit, opening closing switch. Then we have the connection of our safety devices, so we can connect common opening photocell to contact 15 to 17, or we could connect the photocell of closure contact 16, 17, 17, common contacts. Then we have the connection of the limit switch of the motor 1 common limit switch, closing opening limit. Let's proceed with the other additional safety measure that is stop contact of stop used must be bridged. Then we have the pedestrian entrance on 22, obviously, of course. NO contact 23 is a contact of common 24 start input. All command inputs start and. Pedestrian, as we can clearly see if we don't have any indeed. Device, they left them open. Since they are normally open contacts, while all. The safety devices and limit switch F. And used contacts must be bridged contacts. And C. Let's take a look above corresponding LEDs. Find LEDs FCC2. FCI2 correspond to the limit switch motor. 2 must always be on, bridged, or otherwise. Connected to the device a barrier or, whether it is the sliding motor always on. They turn off when engaged. Let's proceed the same way to connect the photocell. The LED is permanently on. It interrupts between the 2 photocells. The beam is no longer present, cut. Obstacle LED off. Let's move on to FCC and FCA. Said motor 2 same. Behavior so they are permanently on, they are only turned off. They are linked to the motor to the control unit. To the limit switch when engaged will be off. Correspond. These 2 LEDs have a function that in the event that the stop is interrupted, these 2 LEDs turn off when off. Automation in stop state. And does not offer electronic movement. Last 2 LEDs match pedestrian. At the start, these unlike the others are always off and turn on only when they receive the control impulse. Now let's look at the 3 power potentiometers, which are essential components. Power slow and T-pause, what does it mean? Power manages force during the run. The power slow controls the force during the slowdown phase, and thus the T-pause manage the pause time in a range of about work from 5 to 120 seconds. If enabled by the following options, below we have the following. Our optional dip switches, dip 1 enables. The automatic closure, disabled in on enabled, which definitely means that if the gate is currently opening and not in the process of, we have enabled the automatic closure. It will not close if does not receive a pulse signal, dip switch number 2. instead used for condominium management, or step-by-step and off, we will have this logic of operation 1 opens, 1 stops, 1. Impulse closes while with the dip switch mechanism activated on. The automation will always complete the maneuver to the end. It means that while it is actually opening, if we currently press the start pulse from the remote control, will definitely continue to open, while if the automation is closing and then slightly receives a slight start impulse, and the maneuver will be reversed and reopen. The name means it is used in case. For condominium dip switch number 3, allows instead to fundamentally enter the memory. Radio from the outside 3 commands. Dip switch 4 enables the water hammer effect. Water hammer is directly connected to the electric lock. The electric lock will have the possibility to be disengaged more easily because, in fact, leaf 1 with dip 4 activated in. Starting phase closes once earlier. To start opening, electric lock must be connected. On terminal 28 to 29, give an impulse each time the control unit receives the command, and for the opening of 3 seconds, the dip. Switch number 5, on the other hand, acts the options regarding contact safety and protocols. 15 to 17, edge or opening photocell in. Moment when we have dip 5 in. Off, the intervention of the safety will most definitely, undoubtedly cause a reverse maneuver to carefully clear the obstacle and safely. At the moment we remove the obstacle, photocells will continue opening with dip 5. Inani will simply just have to definitely stop. Of the automation without inversion dip switch 6, manages the flashing light with the 6 inches. Off, we will have a steady light during the movement. Of the automation with the 6 in on instead, flashing light follows this logic. During opening, there will be a slow flashing light. In case we have recently set the automatic closure, pause time will be indicated by a light. Fixed, the flashing light will be rapid during the phase. For closing, dip switch 7 sets. The slowdown obviously off, the slowdown excluded. And on the slowdown is included, we will then see how to set during the process. Programming. Dip switch 8 provides the possibility to the control unit hydraulic motors. Electromechanical, we manage electromechanical motors, so we have ability to manage slowdown through the dip 7 and the forces via the trimmer. Power and power slow when we go to set dip 8, then hydraulic setting we will appropriately take into account that these things will be managed from the motor, which can include various effects such as slowdown and forces. Now, indeed, let's briefly see how to quickly and easily set up our remote control. Here we have our radio prog button, which is very useful to control, which, when pressed once, will set for the total opening. Pressed twice will slightly set for instead the pedestrian opening. Let's look at the operation. Press the once, steady light, remote control received. After 6 seconds, it will exit programming, and at this point, the button we have selected will be working for the full opening. I'll show you. Also how to set pedestrian mode. Press once. I release, press twice, flashing light, pedestrian setting. Now let's practically see how to proceed with a typical programming. Prog time 2 seconds, such as the LED remains on to show we are in. Programming phase, press gate 1 starts. Leaf 1, press gate 2, the leaf starts. 2, where I just want 1 to slow down a little. I press gate 1 and we start the slowdown. We will slow down. Also the 2, we will definitely reach the limit switch and we will stop. The leaf 1, we will definitely stop the leaf 2. Indeed, of course, let's remember to leave it in position for a few seconds. Now we will restart. With the 2 in closing, We will restart with in the final moments. 1 in closing, where we want it to happen, at the end of the day, ultimately, in the end. Slow down during closing, we will start leaf. 2, same thing happens, leaf 1 is gradually slowing down, and eventually, we arrive at our destination. In position, a few seconds, we stop for a moment, we stop. The one we see the LED is turned off just now, programming successfully completed for practicality after we have completely associated full opening and pedestrians show you this practice that could be very useful if we have the control unit in. A not very convenient position, we enter programming. With button 1, I control motor 1. With button 2, I control motor. 2 works only during the phase of programming, slow down 1, slow down 2, and then stop step by step. The number 1, please stop the number 2, now close 2 and close more. 1, gradually slow down 2, gradually slow down 1, come to a complete stop, and then 2, come to a complete stop. 1, programming completed. Obviously, this is only possible if you consider all the factors. After associating the specific channel 1 with the opening, complete channel 2 pedestrian opening.